Did you know that according to skincancer.net, 1 in 5 Americans will develop skin cancer in their lifetime? That means that 4 of you have a chance of developing skin cancer in your lifetime. However, there are things you can do to help lower your risk of getting skin cancer. And today we're going to look at what some of those are. But first, before we look at preventing it, we're going to look at what skin cancer is and how it's formed. What is skin cancer? Skin cancer is the abnormal growth of venous cells mainly caused by UV light. The most common form of all most common form of all cancers, accounting for 75% of cancer found. And it's normally found in individuals 40 and over. However, because of popularity of tanning, it's becoming increasingly more common in younger individuals. There are 6 types of cancer, but today we're going to look at the 3 main types that you'll most likely get that make up the majority of cancer. And those are basal cell carcinoma, squamous cell carcinoma, and melanoma. Basal cell carcinoma. Basal cell carcinoma is formed on basal layers of the skin, which is the bottom layer of the epidermis. It's the most common form of cancer, resulting in about 2.8 billion cases annually. Now, it results in about every 8 of 10 non-melanoma cancers are going to be basal cell. And they look like open sores, red patches, pink growths, shiny bumps, or even scars. Now, while it's most common, it rarely spreads past this point and is rarely fatal. Next cancer we have is squamous cell cancer. That forms in the squamous layer of the skin cells, which makes up the top portion of your skin. It's the second most common, resulting in around 700,000 cases annually, with around 2,500 deaths. It looks like scaly red patches, open sores, and elevated growth with central depression, or even warts. Squamous cell is developed by a cumulative UV exposure over one's lifetime. It can be highly disfiguring, and if allowed to grow, it can be fatal. Now, squamous cell, unlike basal cell, is not directly related to exposure to sunlight. It can grow on other parts of the body that are not usually exposed to the sun. So make sure you have to watch out for that. Now, finally, we have melanoma. Melanoma is the most dangerous type of cancer. It kills an estimated 8,790 people annually. Melanoma is formed by DNA that's been damaged, it's unrepaired, it triggers the cells to multiply and form malignant tumors. This is caused by UV exposure again. Now, the good thing about melanoma, although it is deadly, it is the most deadly form of skin cancer. If diagnosed early and treated, it is almost always curable. So, now we've gone over 3 types of cancer, we've seen what they are. Let's look at some treatment options so if you do end up developing one. There are many different treatment options, including freezing, laser therapy, radiational therapy, chemotherapy, biological therapy, and finally, surgery. Now, what's better than having cancer and being successfully treated is not getting it in the first place. So what can you do to prevent cancer, and then even if you get it treated, you're still going to have a scar most likely. So let's look at some risk factors that will increase your chance of getting it and what you can do to prevent those. All right, first of all, what are risk factors? Risk factor is anything that increases your chance of getting a disease. Having a risk factor does not mean that you will get the disease, just like not having a risk factor does not mean that you will not get the disease. So some of the risk factors for skin cancer is having fair skin, lighter skin, family history, if you have a history, you know people who have skin cancer. Smoking, smokers are more apt to get skin cancer, especially around the lips. Chemical exposure, radiational exposure. Your age, like I said, the higher you are, more likely you're going to get it, but it doesn't always be the case. A weak immune system will make you more susceptible. And UV light, that's the main cause right there. And then early exposure. The earlier you are out in the sun, like you spend a lot of summers outside by the beach, get a lot of suntans, sunburns, and you're going to be at more general risk at a younger age. So now what about prevention? All right, there's a few things you can do to keep from getting skin cancer. One is avoid the sun. Now, I'm not saying live inside like a cave and never go outside, but try to avoid the sun between the hours of 10 and 4 when the sun's at its most intense. You can plan your activities around there if you can, but if you can't, wear an FPS at least 15 or greater and apply every few hours. Another thing you can do is wear protective clothing. That's a wide brim hat, reflective shades, long sleeve shirts, and clothing. Another thing to do, probably the most important one, is avoid tanning beds. A lot of people like to tan, it's a popular option, but tanning beds are not safer than the sun as advertised. Tanning beds are actually far more detrimental to skin cancer chances than anything else you'll do. One skin tanning, indoor tanning, younger than 35 can increase your chance of getting melanoma by 75%. And also, not only for skin cancer, but indoor tanning increases your chance of getting wrinkles, damaged eyesight, and it can also change the texture of your skin. So, nothing else, avoid tanning beds. And then finally, examine your skin. If you think you have a suspicious looking mark on your arm, take time to examine it. And some things to remember, keep in mind when you're examining your skin, is to remember the ABCDs of skin cancer. The ABCDs of skin cancer are A, symmetry. You cut the little mark in half, mole, whatever it is. If both sides match up, then you're okay. If they don't, it could be a sign of skin cancer. The border. A nice round border is what you want to see. If it's an uneven, jagged border, then it could be an indication. Color. If it's two-tone or an odd color, then it could be cancer. Most non-cancerous marks are solid colors. The diameter, you want to look for something that's larger than the head of an eraser. Although sometimes they can be smaller, but generally larger than the head of your eraser. And then E is elevation. If it's raised above the rest of the skin in that area and uneven, some depth in it, then there's another sign. Another E that you can remember is everything else. If you have any suspicions about a mark, just go see a doctor. It's worth it. So, we've seen that. We've seen the causes and preventions that you can do for skin cancer. And although skin cancer is the #1 cancer in the world and is growing annually at a rate around 2%, there are things you can do today, simple precautions we already went over, to keep from getting that. And so don't let yourself become one of the 4 people in this room to get skin cancer.